20 years, 4 world championships. One driver who changed everything. And now the architect of it all is walking away. Dr. Helmut Marko is leaving Red Bull Racing. The man who discovered Max Verstappen when he was just a teenager in karting. The man who gave him an F1 seat at 17 when everyone said it was madness. The man Verstappen himself said was the only reason he stayed loyal to Red Bull through every storm. By the end of this year, this isn't just another personnel change. This is the moment Red Bull stops being Red Bull. Because the question everyone's asking isn't if Max leaves, it's where he goes next. For those who don't follow the politics behind the racing, Helmut Marko isn't just an advisor. He's been the spine of Red Bull Racing since 2005, the very beginning. He was handpicked by Dietrich Mateschitz, the founder who built this entire empire. Marko ran the Red Bull Junior team, the brutal talent factory that chewed up promising drivers and spit out world champions. Sebastian Vettel. 4 consecutive titles. 4 consecutive Constructors' Championships. That was Marko's first masterpiece. But his reputation? Ruthless. Demanding. If you didn't deliver, you were gone. No second chances. No mercy. The junior team wasn't a development program, it was a proving ground. And only the strongest survived. Then came 2015. Marko was watching a teenage kid tearing up the junior categories. Max Verstappen. 17 years old. Too young, everyone said. Too risky. Too soon. Marko gave him the seat anyway. Toro Rosso. Formula 1. At an age when most drivers are still dreaming. And Max delivered. Instantly. Spectacularly. The gamble that defined a generation. That bond between Marko and Verstappen? It wasn't just professional. It was loyalty. Trust. Family. Verstappen even said it publicly earlier this year during Red Bull's internal chaos. His future was tied to Marko staying. So what happens now that the tie is cut? Here's what makes this even more seismic. Christian Horner, Red Bull's team principal, already left just months ago. Now Marko. The 2 most powerful figures in the team's history, gone within a single season. This isn't coincidence. This is strategy. After Mateschitz passed away, Red Bull's new corporate leadership decided to reshape the team. Oliver Mintzlaff, the sporting CEO, wanted structure. Clarity. A more corporate approach to running a racing team. The old guard Marko and Horner pulling in different directions, clashing over decisions, operating with almost unchecked power. That era is over. Reports suggest Marko made a move that broke the new rules. He signed a junior driver without approval from management. The bosses in Austria weren't happy. His contract was supposed to run until the end of 2026. It won't. There were also tensions. Always tensions. Marko and Horner had their battles. The leadership structure was messy. Unclear. The new regime wants clean lines and corporate discipline. But here's the brutal truth: they're dismantling the very system that made Red Bull dominant. The aggressive, instinct-driven culture that produced champions is being replaced by spreadsheets and hierarchy. And Max Verstappen? He's watching the team he joined as a teenager become something completely different. Verstappen's contract runs until 2028. On paper, he's locked in. Safe. Red Bull's future secured. But Formula 1 contracts are never that simple. They're filled with exit clauses. Performance triggers. Conditions that allow drivers to walk if certain things change. Key personnel leaving? That's usually one of them. Team performance dropping below a threshold? Another. Verstappen will almost certainly stay through 2026. The new engine regulations kick in that season, and Max is too competitive to walk away before seeing how Red Bull adapts. He'll honor that commitment. But 2027? That's when the dominoes could fall. Because without Marko, without Horner, Red Bull isn't the team Verstappen signed with back when he was 17. It's a corporate entity with a racing division. And the best driver in the world doesn't need to settle for that. Mercedes. Aston Martin. Both circling. Both ready. Mercedes dominated this sport for 8 straight years. 8 consecutive constructors' titles from 2014 to 2021. Then they stumbled. The regulation changes hit them hard, and they haven't won a championship since 2021. They've been rebuilding, adapting, clawing their way back. And Toto Wolff, Mercedes team principal, has never hidden his admiration for Verstappen. He's said it publicly: repeatedly. The door is always open. He even joked once that if Max ever came to Mercedes, Helmut Marko would be welcome to join him too. Wolff compared Marko to Niki Lauda, the legendary figure who helped bring Lewis Hamilton to Mercedes back in 2013. That wasn't just a compliment. That was foreshadowing. Now Marko is free. No Red Bull contract. No obligations. Imagine this: Verstappen and Marko, reunited at Mercedes. A package deal that reshapes the entire sport. The prodigy and his mentor, bringing their championship-winning chemistry to the Silver Arrows. It's the kind of move that ends eras and starts new ones. But Mercedes isn't the only throne available. Aston Martin is building something different. Something bigger. Lawrence Stroll, billionaire owner, is pouring resources into the team at a staggering rate. Brand new factory in Silverstone. State-of-the-art facilities. Hiring the best engineers, designers, strategists in the paddock. This isn't just a midfield team with ambition, this is a ground-up championship project. And here's the kicker. From 2026, Aston Martin has a works engine partnership with Honda. Honda. The company that powered Verstappen to his first world championships. The engineers he trusts. The relationship built on mutual respect and success. Verstappen and Honda aren't just a technical partnership, there's history there. Loyalty. A move to Aston Martin would mean Verstappen becomes the centerpiece of an emerging empire. He wouldn't just be joining a team, he'd be building one. From scratch. With Honda power. With unlimited resources. With Lawrence Stroll's checkbook backing every decision. For some drivers, that's more appealing than joining an established giant like Mercedes. It's the chance to create a legacy, not just add to someone else's. Nothing is confirmed. Verstappen is still a Red Bull driver. Still contracted. Still, on paper, committed through 2028. But the ground has shifted beneath him. The man who discovered him is leaving. The team principal who led Red Bull through its golden era is already gone. The team that felt like family now feels like a corporation. And two of the biggest teams in Formula One are preparing their pitches, sharpening their offers, waiting for the moment Verstappen decides he's ready for something new. 2026 will be fascinating. New regulations. New challenges. Verstappen proving once again why he's the best driver on the grid. But 2027? That's when the real story begins. That's when the politics, the contracts, the loyalty, the money, all of it collides. Because the best driver in Formula One might be looking for a new home. And when Max Verstappen moves, the entire sport moves with him. So here's the question nobody can answer yet. Has Red Bull's dominance already ended? Is this the beginning of a new chapter or the final page of an empire that forgot what made it great? One thing's certain. The paddock is watching. Mercedes is waiting. Aston Martin is preparing. And somewhere in Austria, the corporate executives are realizing they might have just dismantled the very thing that made them champions. The man who made Max is walking away. And the world is about to find out what happens when loyalty finally breaks.